Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Album Fight Club. As always, I'm your host, Mike Kane. As always, with my co-host, Cody Constantine. Cody, how are we?
I'm doing all right.
I'm
Doing
gonna have
very
to.
well.
I'm gonna have to cut that out. You just like blew the mic. Maybe I'll keep it in. We'll see. Cody's feeling a little antsy today, I think, because of the band we're talking about. If I had to guess,
I am. Yeah, it's a big band day today.
yeah, it is. If you've seen the title, you know. But for those who don't, we figured that as part of season 3 and early on in season 3, this is episode 2. We figured, we had Every Time I Die, more of an obscure band for most people. We got to throw a big hitter in there, and that, of course, is the band Kiss. Now, in the lexicon of rock music, eventually we're going to get around to this group. But the funny thing is that when we were deliberating what the next episode was, I was very strong on telling Cody, look, we got to do Kiss at some point. Let's just get it out of the way. Let's just do it now so that we can say we've covered it, we've done it. There's partially a reason for that, but Cody, what we always like to do is talk about our experience with this band, how we know them, etc. I wonder how we feel, because I have not gotten your opinion on Kiss. You have not gotten mine. So do you want to open the floor, or do you want me to open the floor?
All right. Yeah, I want to say something
Sure.
very quickly. This is a serious thing. Any past, present, and future members of Kiss or their LLC or any of their legally binding contracts, please do not come for us. Because you guys have a history of chopping people off at the knees, and everything that Mike and I are about to say over the next hour, most likely hour and a half, is simply of our own opinion.
True.
Um, that being said, man, Kiss has always just been like middle of the road fucking rock music for me. Like, so a couple of actually in the first season, Mike and I had this massive conversation about, the identity of music that I think gets imbued whenever it becomes a part of like the cultural lexicon. So you look at things like Slayer and you look at things like Iron Maiden and you look at those album covers and you're like, oh, that's like crazy. I bet that sounds insane. And for the most part, it does. Those things live up to their legacy. You look at Kiss and you're like, damn, I bet that's gonna just rip my head off. And it doesn't. It is the most fucking middle of the road rock music. Like, if you had AI make a rock song, it's gonna sound like Kiss.
Oh man, wow.
And I listen, I respect Kiss, and as a musician, a lot of love for Gene Simmons because he really did a lot of cool things. But the biggest thing that this exercise has done is make me want to revisit every song that I thought these other songs sounded like. So now my drive to Columbia is going to be me listening to like individual artists being like, oh, it's cool that Kiss sounds like this a little bit,
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I kind of expected you to say that, because here's the thing. I'm not a huge Kiss fan either. Or should I say, Cody, I wasn't a huge Kiss
Jesus
fan.
Christ.
Peep the shirt.
God.
I got the Paul Stanley shirt. Dude, I got to tell you
Damn it.
something. Look, this is the crazy thing that happened. When we had this discussion, it was about 3 weeks ago at this point, when we were like, what's the next episode? And I was like I said, let's do Kiss. We got to talk about them at some point. And in the back of my head, I'm like, I don't really like them either, but like, we just got to talk about them because they are a huge band, admittedly, whether you think they're great or not. And I'm like, let's just do it. And so, just to be clear as well, we picked 2 albums. Obviously, we do that. But I said we both kind of agree we should do Destroyer, because Destroyer is commonly seen as, like, if not their best record, one of them. And then I said we should do Love Gun, because Love Gun is the last album in their classic 6 cycle, right? They had 6 albums with all the main members. Then they did their solo records. And then after that, Ace leaves the band, Peter leaves the band, and then it just kind of gets like a jumbled thing. They kind of change their sound. They lose the makeup, all this other stuff. So Destroyer versus Love Gun. And the classic songs here, the classic songs, right? We'll get to them and talk about them. But the other songs, I'm like, I don't really know these songs that well. And as I listened to the albums, 2 things happened. One was I was getting reintroduced to songs I know and then introduced to other songs I know. And I'm sitting there going, in a similar way to Cody, I'm like, man, the great songs I think are great. there's a lot of stuff here that's just middling. It's middle of the road at best, right? And then there's some songs here I think are just bad, like real bad.
Oh,
Like one song in particular I think is just trash, but we'll get to it.
actual genuine stinkers. Not
Yeah,
like we think this is bad because we like music. This is just a bad song.
it's a bad attempt. Right?
Bad attempt, yeah.
But then a second crazy thing happened, which was obviously I'm aware of the fact that they had makeup. They sort of did tricks on stage, right? Gene vomited blood, and Ace had a flamethrower, like pyro, on his guitar.
Yeah.
And there's a part of me that's like, I mean, I know they did this stuff, but like, why is it suddenly interesting me so much? And then, Cody, I cannot tell you how much Kiss dumb I have consumed in the last 3 weeks. I'm honestly sitting here going, I think I'm a genuine fan now. But the crazy thing is, it's not because of the music per se. I think as a band, at best, these guys are good.
I totally agree.
Musically, this is not a great band. There's never a moment where you go, that's one of the greatest songs of all time. Or you hear an Ace guitar solo and you go, well, there's one. You hear an Ace guitar solo and you go, man, that's one of the greatest solos I've ever heard, right? None of these guys, I would argue, are in the top 25 players of their instruments. I think the closest one you could argue is Ace, being like a really, really good guitar player. And even then, I don't think he's top 25, right? That's just me personally. But then I was like, but this band, I would argue this band is legendary, not for their music, but for their personas, for their stage presence, for their live acts. And I think really, at the end of the day, why they have become the band they are is because of the makeup, the live shows, the personas of the guys. And when that clicked for me, which it's kind of obvious, but it did click for me, I was like, man, this band kind of is taking on a new life for me. And so I literally, I mean, I'm wearing, it's not playing for audio, but I'm wearing a Paul Stanley t-shirt because Paul is my favorite member, and I'll explain that as we get into the songs. I bought all the solo records, the 4 solo records that happened right after Love Gun. I bought all of them on vinyl. I'm inclined to buy Destroyer Love Gun. Like I found Alive 2 vinyl at a good price, so I bought that. I've listened to like the first half of their career. Like I've listened to all the records where before I didn't really listen to any of it. And like, it's just this weird thing that happened. So where I totally agree with Cody and what we'll discuss here is that musically speaking, I don't think these guys are top tier, but I do think this is a top tier band, right? I'm willing to say that. And again, partially of that is the idea of seeing a live show when these guys were touring Love Gun or touring Destroyer. Like that's one of those bring a band back to life at any time in their career. When you go see them, it's like, I would love to see Kiss in the 70s.
Well, you know, the dream lineup, ironically enough, is I was thinking about this as I was doing this exercise, is seeing Kiss open for Rush. And
I thought it was the other way around, wasn't it?
No, I think it was Kiss opened for Rush.
I'm pretty sure it was Rush opening for Kiss.
That's
because this was
worst show I've ever seen in my life. If I have to sit through Fly By Night era Rush and then...
But I think that's what it was. It was they were so early in their career. Kiss was kind of like 4 albums in, and Kiss was huge at this point. That like I think Rush did actually open for them.
Yeah, it's a lot of empty seats in that stadium, man. Let me tell you. In hindsight, I'm walking out of there.
Oh, I'm not. Are you kidding me? Rush and Kiss? Like, come on.
Okay, so I do want to pivot real quick and say something before we get into the songs. Kiss's legacy exists as the last bastion of shitbag rock and roll. I really think so. Because when you think of people like Gene Simmons and Ace Frehley, and you think about Kiss as like those personalities, right? You think of a couple of the big hitters, and the big hitters are massive. The big hitters are fucking Aaron Rodriguez's home run average. You know, that's how big they are. But it's more like, oh yeah, well, these guys suit each other into infinity. You know, clearly all 4 of them, like the initial core Kiss, were all misogynists and like womenizers. You know, like you hear Gene Simmons' name and you probably think more like he's got a long tongue and allegedly he slept with over 1,000 people.
Yeah, it's like Lemmy level of like sleep with women.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like you think about Ace Frehley and it's like, oh yeah, they're continuing to sue each other. Peter Criss is continuing to sue each other. And but what I think Kiss works really well as, especially, I'm going to say it right now, especially Destroyer, is a time capsule of what damn good rock and roll sounded like then. Just pure, like, rock and roll. Not anything else. You're not getting into, like, Pink Floyd. You fucking take a Marshall amp, make it loud. Take a bass, and you make it loud. And then, I don't know, you're probably going to go play like a bar, you know? That's what I think these two records have done really well.
And if I could say as well, I think what Kiss is to me, if I could sum it up in like 1 to 2 sentences, they're a good bar band that made it huge.
Yep.
They're like, at times they sound like a garage band. Like some of these songs, it's like garage band level rock, which is not to say it's bad, but it's not anything that you would sell out a stadium with. But then they add the makeup, they add the pyro, they add the blood, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, I'm coming to see these guys because they're just insane on stage.
Yeah.
And real quick, we'll get into the songs after I say this. Real quick, in the event that you don't know, Kiss had 4 members, and these 4 members did stage makeup and like costumes and shit. So you have Gene Simmons, who is a vocalist for the band, and they're all vocalists, but basically Gene and Paul are considered the 2 main vocalists. They do the majority of the songs. Gene plays bass, and his persona is the devil. So Gene had these like monster boots with spikes on the bottom, these like bat wing armpit things. He would vomit blood. I like Gene's persona a lot. I think it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Then you have Paul Stanley, who is known as the Star Child. Again, I'm wearing the shirt, but you can't see it on audio. He plays rhythm. Paul's actually my favorite, and I'll save why so when we get to a song that we'll shortly get to. Ace Frehley is the guitar player, lead guitar. He's known as the Spaceman, and then Peter Criss on drums as the Catman. So they have these elaborate makeup designs. They have these pyro, these insane tricks they do, and that's really what propels them. Because a lot of their early material, the complaints they got was, you guys don't sound like this live, and that's why they made a live one. Was they put out a live record, and when they put out a live one, that's what propelled them into stardom.
Yes,
because it was suddenly a live record is what they actually sound like, and people wanted that. Just to say, in case you somehow didn't know, that's what Kiss is. All right, now Destroyer and Love Gun, track by track. Here we go.
All right, once again, Kiss, if you're listening, your management, anybody, your fucking label, your license holders, where these are just our opinions. We don't make money off of this. Actually, I think we lose money every time we do one of these episodes.
Yeah, technically speaking.
Do not come. Do not come for us, please. Thank you.
With that being said, I don't know how you feel, Cody. I think Detroit Rock City is one of the greatest rock songs of all time.
Dude, it's top 5.
Oh yeah, dude, man. Like, here's the thing though. Like, we set this up by saying, Kiss has a lot of really just okay songs. But man, did they give you a fucking haymaker right out of the gate with just Detroit Rock City. By far and away, my favorite Kiss song. It's not even close.
Dude. Okay, hold on. All the shit talking we just did. Like I said, when they nail it out of the park, right? This is Hank Aaron's fucking batting average in one song. All heads together, everybody working together to write a genuine bona fide masterpiece. And Mike doesn't know this, one of the 5 songs that made me want to learn how to play bass.
Oh, I totally see it. Like,
because he does that fucking thing in the verse where he goes ba ba da da da, and it's so smooth.
Yeah,
it's got this like thump to it, and it's just like, all right, you got me. I'm doing this. I'm buying a 4-string instrument.
Yeah, the call and response of it. I feel uptight on a Saturday night. Boom, boom.
Yeah,
dude, a killer. And okay, so why is Paul my favorite? In spite of the fact that I think he's just a decent guitar player. Again, he's not top 50 at all, right, when it comes to guitar. But vocally, I think Paul Stanley's one of the coolest voices in rock music when he does it really well. And I think Detroit Rock City really hits that. His vocals on this song, just something about it, dude. He sounds so good on this song. Because he's kind of got like a high register, but it also sounds like he's got a grit to the high register, which so often that doesn't translate. It's either one or the other, but he does both at the same time. And so when he's doing these verses, it's just like, I feel the rock. I feel the energy of it. The bass, Gene's bass playing accelerates it. Peter's drumming in a lot of sections is great. The riff itself is perfect. The chorus is fun. Just everything about it. The only thing where I'm like, I could do without that is the long intro. You've got like a minute and 30 seconds of, because I'm pretty sure Detroit Rock City is about a Kiss fan that died on his way to a concert. I think they like that's the story behind it. So you got like somebody doing dishes and then getting in their car and playing Kiss, and the idea is that he's going to a Kiss concert, and then on the way there he gets in a car wreck and dies. So that's why you hear the cars crashing at the end and the explosion. Yeah. Other than that, it's perfection. Literal perfection.
Yeah. Now here's where here's where the issue starts and ends for me.
Okay.
All right, and I'm about to poison Mike's mind. Kiss is really good. You know what Kiss sounds exactly like? Mark II era Deep Purple. And once you get that in your head, man, these two records are just us going back to Deep Purple. And it fucking killed me. Because once it started to ooze its way, every thought was, fuck, dude, I'd much rather be listening to Deep Purple. You know?
I would agree that they're Mark II Deep Purple in certain songs. So Detroit Rock City, yeah. Not only does this kind of sound like Deep Purple, but they're playing as well as Deep Purple would.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, obviously not quite, but like, you know. But by comparison, I Stole Your Love, which is the first song on Love Gun, doesn't necessarily sound like Mark II Deep Purple to me. However, I like this song a lot. Clearly not as much as Detroit Rock City. I don't think it comes close, but I think it's another great opener for a Kiss album. And impartial because, one, Paul's vocals again. Paul sounds great on this song. And the gang chorus they do with the I stole your love, like, dude, it's just so catchy. It's so fun. And a lot of when Kiss is great, it's usually fun, right? They're never really a serious band, like not really. A lot of their songs are about hooking up with women or partying all night and rocking all day, like, yeah. And that's fine. That's what you go to Kiss for. But in both these cases, I think what they showcase is that when they want to be good, they can be great. Unfortunately, for both these albums, a lot of the times they're not great. They're just kind of good. And as I said, in some cases, they're kind of bad. But in the event of the first matchup here, easily Detroit Rock City, because once again, I think it's their best song.
Yeah, I totally agree. And you know, I Stole Your Love is a good opener, right? If it was any other song on Destroyer, it'd probably take it out. But man, I mean, you're opening with the heavy hitter, besides maybe Rock and Roll All Night.
Yeah,
that's it. Like, I don't see how you could even have a comparison. And so now we get into, man, a hard cut. We get into a weight deficit, a calorie deficit on these next 6 songs.
Pretty much. I mean,
yeah. You go. Destroyer is a record where they recorded it and then said, make the first song the hit, because once you listen to this one time, no one is ever going to listen to this whole record again.
I mean, that could totally be the case. I think there's at least 2 more songs on Destroyer that I would call great. The rest of them I would call like good at best.
I would give it serviceable. I wouldn't even call it good.
Okay.
And that is me having, of course, like a bias.
Sure. And
once again, this is the last time I'm going to say it. Kiss management, liaisons of responsibility. This is just our opinions.
Right.
Yeah, don't fucking come for us.
I don't think they're even going to... This is going to be not even a blip on their radar. This will be so far in the stratosphere of their relevance or cognition.
Yeah.
But let's move on to matchup number 2. You got King of the Nighttime World versus Christine 16. And I'm laughing already because if I may talk about Christine 16 for a second, let's talk about Gene for a second.
Jesus Christ.
Here's the thing about Gene. Like Cody said, he's a good bass player. I wouldn't call him great, but he's good. And when he is great, he's great. But most of the time, he's good. His vocals, I like. He's not Paul to me. I think Paul is the vocalist of Kiss. But Gene, he's a good backup. He's a good second choice. But and I'm amazed this hasn't happened, if tomorrow Gene Simmons was canceled, if he was Me Too'd, I would not be surprised at all. I'd be like, how did it take this long? Because if you don't know Kiss, the funny thing about, not funny, the incredible thing about Gene is that he didn't drink or smoke, ever. He was sober pretty much his entire life. But his vice was women. And he's very open about this, how he slept with so many women, how he had a sex addiction. But then he writes a song called Christine 16, in which he's, put it bluntly, he is lusting after a 16-year-old girl. And man, it's just like, I can't separate the vocals from this song. If you remove the vocals, I think this song is a catchy little rock thing.
Yes.
And it's got like the Bernie, like it's just a catchy, and the admittedly the chorus is fun, but then you listen to the vocals, and especially when he gets that spoken word moment, it's like,
It's
Gene,
awkward.
my dude, Gene, like check yourself, my man. Like
Yeah.
you could find so many more women, you know.
Yeah.
Not to say this is the only song of that era that ever did this, but it's one of them, and I don't know, maybe because we're in 2025 and we think differently about this stuff, but man, what a weird move.
Well, that's the caveat, right? Is there's this song, there's Plaster Caster, there's Love Gun. Like, listen, you're allowed to be horny. That's cool, man. Some of the fucking Marvin Gaye made a whole career off of being vaguely horny, and then near the end, being the horniest man alive. It's good for him. Awesome. I love his music. Man, you got to know when to call your shots. And the caveat is there is historical evidence that David Bowie, as an adult, dated a 14-year-old. Ted Nugent, as an adult, dated like a 15-year-old. Jimmy Page dated the same 14-year-old that David Bowie dated. Like, things were different. And if we're going to come for one, sadly, we have to come for all. Now, just on its own merit, like I was saying about kind of like the calorie deficit, it just feels like they put all of their eggs into the Detroit Rock City basket and then said everything else will be good because it's going to be propelled by this first song. That's cool, man. Christine 16 is whatever. It's just a little rock ditty. This is what you hear on your drive to work, and then you hum the chorus, and then you go on your day. In comparison to fucking King of the Nighttime World, which, if I'm correctly, is this another Gene song?
No, this is Paul.
Okay. This song is fucking insane.
Insanely good or insanely...
No, just insane.
Okay.
I wouldn't even classify it as like good. It's just fucking crazy. Because I feel like throughout the Kiss catalog, right? So for everybody, my favorite Kiss record is Psycho Circus. Because I like when they reband after everybody is done suing each other, and they go, well, we could just make $100 million off of being Kiss, and I like it when they have a little bit more teeth, when kind of the dirt is in the air, because then it's like, okay, yeah, man. I mean, like, sure, you're a sex pest. You're allowed to be horny all you want, because we all know it's out in the open. But it's so weird to get Kiss where it's like they had TV specials, they had all this stuff, all the merchandise.
They made a movie.
They made a movie. They have 4 individual records that are the 4 core members of Kiss. And you get this song where this dude's just like, I am the devil. That's fucking crazy. Yep. This is the only argument for like the satanic panic, I think. Because if I was a parent in 1978 or whenever this came out, I'd be like, hold on, man. Everything else is subjective. This dude is straight up like, I am the devil. And that's fucking crazy to me. That's why it's insane. Because I'm like, the rest of the songs on these records are about like just being horny and listening to rock and roll music. And then you get this song where he's like, yeah, man, me and Amon Agarth are hanging out in the 9th layer of fucking hell. Like,
what's interesting though is that the end of Detroit Rock City flows into the beginning of King of the Nighttime World. So it's almost like the kid that died in Detroit Rock City has now been dragged to hell, and now he's speaking to Satan. It's like, that's kind of odd choicing, but
what a crazy way to eulogize someone. That guy, he was a good dude. It's a shame he died in that car accident. And even worse, it's a shame that in the Christian understanding of hell, he's probably being tortured. Yeah, he's being tortured for the rest of eternity.
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy.
But it's kind of rock too. Like, I kind of sit here and go, that's kind of cool.
I mean, yeah, it's kick ass to look at it, but like,
Yeah, that's a song though. Because like, if you remove, we've got a song where it's the devil, and we got another song where it's a 16-year-old. So it's like,
you're either the devil or you're a pedophile, and I think the safe choice is King of the Nighttime World,
which is the one I would go with here.
Yeah, because listen, man, you're allowed to be horny, but you gotta tone it down. You know.
Yeah. So King of the Nighttime World, I think it's a fun song, but it's not amazing. This is where we start the trend of it's a good song, but that at best it's good. It's not great. However, what I said earlier is Detroit Rock City, again, favorite Kiss song, but there's two other songs that I think do fall into the amazing great camp. And I would throw God of Thunder in that camp.
Oh, yeah.
Because, bro, so you get Detroit Rock City, killer, amazing. You get King of the Nighttime World, it's like, it's good, it's fun, it's more Kiss. But then it's like, Gene came in one day, and he was like, dude, what if we were a metal band for a second? Like, we're rock. You could argue we're hard rock, but let's just go metal for one track. And they're like, all right, Gene, look, show us the riff. And then he just thumps that bass riff or thumps the riff to God of Thunder. And they're like, all right, let's try it. And I love God of Thunder. God of Thunder might be my favorite Gene song because Gene sings on it. And Gene is heavily featured as well, obviously. Have you ever heard the Death cover of God of Thunder?
I have.
It's dope. It's so good.
Crazy.
Yeah. But as far as the Kiss version goes, the only thing, like Detroit Rock City, the only thing that I would remove from it would be that like children's vocal thing going on.
Yeah.
I don't really know why it's there. I don't think the song has anything to do with that. And the thing too is that I'm like a decently knowledgeable person when it comes to mythology, both Greek and Norse. And I'm not sure what he's referring to when he's talking about God of Thunder, because it's not Thor, because he's saying he brings up Aphrodite, and that's a Greek thing. But then the God of Thunder is technically Zeus, I guess. And I don't think he's taken the persona of Zeus. I don't know.
It could be the god of bass. Because if you know, bass is more, I guess like a physical instrument. Yeah. In comparison, you feel it instead of like hear it, you know?
Yeah. Because the God of Thunder and rock and roll is the lyric. So like, that makes more sense.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, like kind of weird to the record before or after to be like, I want to sleep with a 16-year-old and they'd be like, oh my God, like that's, and I go to therapy. Yeah, God of Thunder's cool. Personally, out of these two, I like Got Love for Sale more.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And that's just because it feels like a Ted Nugent song. And when I come to Kiss, I just want to hear rock and roll. 90% of Kiss songs are about rock and roll. And if you're gonna be a band that likes to rock and roll, I want your music to sound like rock and roll. So, God of Thunder's cool. There's that weird children's bit. I don't know what that's about. Makes me worried. And then, you get to Got Love for Sale. And it's like, all right, man, this is just a rock song. I like this, It just feels like Kiss wrote a Ted Nugent song. Mm-hmm. It's got a little bit of stank to it, so.
Yeah, I like Got Love for Sale as well. It falls into that good camp, not that great camp for me. The two things I really like about it, though, I think it's got a really cool bass line.
Yeah.
And I think the Ace solo in particular is really good in Got Love for Sale. But in spite of those two things, just like the second God of Thunder starts with the riff and just like the thumping of the bass drum on the quarter notes, I'm like, all right, I'm here for it. So I would give it to God of Thunder.
Now, I will tell you, if you were really curious about hearing like a Gibson Grabber, which is the bass that Gene Simmons used essentially all the way up until like the 2000s, man, you were in luck. Because they have mixed this fucking bass so loud. It is like penetrating over the guitars at every point. Mm-hmm. And then the guitars are like this really smooth, almost like Gilmore-esque thing. But then you just get this bass where it's like, yo, pull this down. Pull this down in the mix. Like, this is too fucking loud for a bass,
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. So with this, for me personally, so far, I've given Destroyer every single track. As opposed to Love Gun. You gave Got Love for Sale as opposed to the other two. But so far, Destroyer's kind of leading the pack. And then on track 4, they decide to make a song called Great Expectations. And I gotta tell you, Cody, I fucking hate this song.
Yeah.
I think this song is trash.
I wrote, this is an English lit fuck you Kiss. Other than that, I guess it's okay.
Oh, I don't even think it's okay. I think it's just bad. Like, this is a skip track for me. It's that bad. For one, it's not doing anything exciting. And that already is just like, okay, well, then I guess it's just okay. But then there's two things that kind of take it over the edge. It's a Gene song. And once again, like Christine 16, Gene is just taking this really weird thing where he's singing things like, you're looking at my fingers. You're wondering what they can do. You're thinking about them doing something to you. And it's like, what the hell, dude? Like, hopefully, I don't know. But then they add like a choir, like a boys choir, to,
which is weird.
It just doesn't work on any level. It's just odd. I don't know. I think nothing, like, honestly, I think nothing in this song works. Not the chorus, not the lyrics, not the boys choir, not the instrument, nothing. So, like, for me, this is a skip bad track. Like, just not good.
Mike, I totally agree. 1,000,000% agree. If this song came on randomly, I'm going on Spotify and I'm pressing the minus button.
Yeah.
That's how much I dislike this. I don't ever play this song for me.
Yeah.
Ever again. But then you get into what? Shock Me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, once again, this is just a bar rock song.
Yeah.
This is like, I'm going to Murphy's. I'm getting a Heineken Zero with Mike, Jason, and Zach. And this is going to be in the background. No one's paying attention to this.
Yep.
You know? But over the fucking weird shit that is Great Expectations, anything is better.
Mm-hmm.
We are scratching the surface. We're just pulling up varnish because the other song is shit.
Yeah, it's unfortunately what it comes down to. I give Shock Me the edge here just because Shock Me isn't bad. It's just kind of whatever. Like you said, it's a song you hear in a bar on the background and you just kind of hear it, you kind of don't. It just kind of plays as noise.
Yeah.
I will say, though, what's cool about Shock Me is that it's the first song in the entire Kiss discography where Ace sings. He's the lead vocalist. So it's actually Ace singing. It's not Paul, it's not Gene, it's not Peter, which those three guys all had songs prior to Love Gun. Ace is singing for the first time on Love Gun. I appreciate that. And Ace, as far as a vocalist, I think he's good. I don't think he's amazing. But that's neither here nor there. I think the riff is fine. I think the solo is fun. Beyond that, though, it's not one of my favorite songs on Love Gun. It's not a favorite Kiss song. And so by proxy, just because it's going up one of my least favorite Kiss songs, just kind of takes it.
Well, and you know what blows my mind about this time, like this time period of rock and roll music, especially hard rock music? Guess who's the big gun at this point?
Like band-wise?
Yeah.
I would argue Led Zeppelin.
It's Zeppelin and Van Halen. How? I think Van Halen is out at this time.
Van Halen, 78.
When did this come out?
This is 76, I think. Yeah.
Van Halen's about to come out.
Yeah, they were doing live shows, like playing gigs, but...
How the fuck does this get any traction?
Because of the makeup. Because
of the makeup.
Yeah. Because of the live element.
It blows my mind. Because I'm like, all the music that's out at this time period, and like, this is it. This is what's pulling fucking people to seats. Like, it blows my mind.
Well, one thing we won't talk about, I'll just bring it up briefly, is that I talked about the solo albums they do. So after Love Gun, which they're at the height of their popularity after Love Gun, they decide to do a solo album each under the Kiss persona. In fact, the shirt I'm wearing is the cover of the Paul Stanley solo album. I wish so many other bands would have done that. It would have been so cool to get Led Zeppelin solo albums when they were in Led Zeppelin. It would be so cool to get Van Halen solo albums, like a Alex Van Halen solo album. That would have been awesome, I think, right? I don't know for a fact, but it would have been cool to see that. So even though they're like one of the biggest bands of the time, like you said, there are better bands, like way better bands musically out there doing a similar thing at the same time. So
yeah.
Flaming Youth, First Tomorrow and Tonight.
Holy shit, dude. I feel like I'm... at this point in the listening process, I'm sorry that I sound so amped up to shit on Kiss. I've started like a new medication, so that's why I'm a little more energetic than usual.
Okay.
This has made me want to slam my head into a fucking wall, dude. Because at this point, it's just music. And like, we try to showcase things that are interesting and things that we like, you know? This is just base level music. I'm walking into a Guitar Center. This is what they're playing over the speaker. And I'm killing myself over fucking Tomorrow and Tonight. What is this?
What do you mean?
What is this song? It's bad. It's not a good song.
Oh, Cody. All right. Throw down the gauntlet. Here we go. I will agree with you with Flaming Youth. I think Flaming Youth is just a middling whatever song. I would say it's like the anthem for rebellion of the time, and a lot of teenage boys listening to Kid, like whatever, you know. I'm 31 years old in 2025. I don't really care about 16-year-olds in the 70s, you know. Like, I appreciate the sentiment, and it's like the rock and roll vibe, man. But it's just it's whatever. It's an okay song. I'm gonna tell you right now, Tomorrow and Tonight I think is great.
You're out of your fucking mind, dude.
No, I think that chorus is so much fun. And honestly, it's not nearly as good as Rock and Roll All Night, but it's got that same energy where I can't believe this wasn't a single. I don't think it was. And if this wasn't as popular in the stadiums as Rock and Roll All Night, I'm shocked to hear that. Because that chorus is so simple to sing. It's so catchy. It's so fun. Is it their best song? No, of course not. I wouldn't even put it in like the top 5 probably. But I do think it is good.
See, I'm in the opposite camp because at least with Flaming Youth, I feel like at least they're trying to touch on something, you know? Not that Kiss is ever supposed to be a political band or a band that talks about social topics, but like at this point, you've got Iggy and the Stooges, you've got MC5, punk is happening. Like punk is starting to pop its way through the zeitgeist. And Tomorrow and Tonight is nothing. But at least Flaming Youth, I could see being, some kid's fucking entry into being like, oh, you know what? I just heard of this band called like the Misfits or whatever. That's cool. Like I'm going to like a VFW hall because those are starting to happen. Or like, okay, 76. I think this is when we start to get a little bit of Black Flag, and it's like, all right, hardcore is becoming a thing. No Barricade. It's cool. It's not a stadium. But Tomorrow and Tonight, it's like, I don't know. And once again, it feels like a song that AI would write. If I went on the Chat GPT and I was like, if I wanted a journeyman and I was like, hey, make me a bare bones rock and roll song, it would bring up Tomorrow and Tonight.
I mean, it's bare bones, but it works. Its simplicity, I think, works for it. Right? It's not a complex song. There's no crazy riffs or patterns of drums happening, but man, is it just fun. It's just like a fun song.
That's fair.
The difference here with something like Shock Me, which I agree with you is a song that comes up in the bar and you just kind of hear it. If we were sitting in Murphy's and Tomorrow and Tonight came on, I would stop for a second and probably sing the chorus or just like kind of say it under my breath. Like I would be bobbing my head to it. If Flaming Youth came on, I'm not doing anything. I'm being like, oh, it's Kiss. Okay.
Well, that's fair.
But are you going Flaming Youth here?
100%.
All right. We're diverging here, I should say. Are we going to diverge in this next matchup?
Holy shit, I sure hope not.
Because it's Sweet Pain versus Love Gun, and I think one of these songs is way better than the other. But
all right,
I don't know.
You go first because clearly this is the end of the podcast. We're falling into the dissolution of the album Fight Club here.
Okay, I'll start with Sweet Pain. Sweet Pain to me is okay.
Yep.
All right, good.
Yep.
It's got this like slinky guitar riff, like the ding, and I'm like, it's a little zany for my taste, if that makes any sense. I don't know. I don't really have much to say about Sweet Pain. It's a Gene song. It's got a fun bridge, but like other than that, I'm just like, it's fine. It's another Destroyer mid track, and unfortunately, Destroyer has a lot of mid tracks where it has like really good tracks mixed in.
Yeah.
Love Gun, however, for me, probably this is a top 5 Kiss song.
Crazy.
Such a good song. Because it has that Detroit Rock City thing where all 4 members are like, let's just get in the pocket together. And you get the dun 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 barrel, and just like the riff is fun. It's got the gallop to it. And again, Paul Stanley on that vocal, he is just killing it. Not to pun intended, he is destroying it. Like, there's just something about the way he's just like, I love you, baby, all night. Like, again, it's that high register grit, which so many vocalists don't have.
Well, it's like, it feels like like another step above that is his reaching point. So where his register falls when he is getting into his higher voice is his comfort. That seems like when he was a kid, that's where he learned how to sing.
Probably.
And I bet a lot of it was listening to like Little Richard, that kind of similar, like, oh man, we like Tutti Frutti is up here,
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. Sweet Pain, dude, it just feels like I'm at a lecture. This is now 2 fucking songs where I feel like no offense, Mike, I feel like I'm sitting in on one of Mike's classes, just like, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
And then you get to Love Gun, and it's like, at least, holy shit, at least this is a song. This is the bare minimum that I want. This is a good song. Don't care if it's about someone's dick. This is just a good song.
Yeah. You pulled the trigger with my Love Gun. Is pretty funny.
Well, yeah, which is crazy because if that came out in the '90s, that's a Bloodhound Gang lyric. We are reaching the Bloodhound Gang on album Fight Club today.
Yeah, I also love how older people will say, "Oh, rap is so raunchy, it's so like explicit," and I'm like, "You like Kiss though, and you've heard
Yeah,
songs like Love Gun, right? Do you know what that song's about?"
yeah. Or we're getting close to it. Fucking Plaster
Oh,
Caster.
Plaster Caster is insanely ridiculous, or
You-
lyrically.
Insane.
Yeah.
So, like, I feel like it's redundant to keep saying this. At least one of these feels like a song, and it's Love Gun.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I agree with you. I would say I think Love Gun is a great song. Like, I would throw it up there in the great category. I think it works just about on every level. I don't really have any issue with it, honestly. Is it as cool as Detroit Rock City? No. But it's also a cool song that doesn't have any issues, in my opinion. So I like it a
Yeah.
lot.
And going back to what I said during Detroit Rock City, this is what I mean by a calorie deficit. Is it just feels like they wrote one perfect song and then everything else is to bolster justifying you spending $7 in the 70s or whatever on a record instead of 50 cents on a single, you
Mhm.
know?
Yeah.
And it's like, I get it because we all got to make money, but holy shit, dude.
Right. Well, the funny thing is that on Destroyer, we Flaming Youth, I mean, Great Expectations, trash. I don't know what happened there. Flaming Youth, Sweet Pain, it's okay.
Yeah.
But then, at least in my opinion, they go, look, the record producer goes, look, I hear these first 6 songs. That first one's amazing. That third one's pretty great. These last
Yeah.
3 have been kind of whatever. You need to give me a hit, dude. Like, give me a hit. And they go through the filing cabinet, they scroll through their folders, and they pull out Shout It Out Loud. And they go, I think this one could get him. And they put it on the record table, they put the needle down, and then the record producer's like, sell it, get it out there. And when they do, the stadiums, every single person in there is singing Shout It Out Loud. This is the other song. There's 3 on Destroyer,
Yeah.
Detroit Rock City, for me, God of Thunder, and also for me, Shout It Out Loud. I think is really great.
All I wrote for Shout It Out Loud is they're fucking with me because this just sounds like rock and roll all night.
You're right, it does.
And no lie, dude, I had like a crisis because I was like, how much more is this gonna be?
Well, I mean, yes, you're right. It sounds like rock and roll all night, but given that that's like their biggest song and everyone knows that song, like you kind of expect them to try and hit that lightning again. I would argue they do here, right? Lightning in a bottle maybe is going too far, but I think this is I think it's a great song. It's a great radio song. It's an amazing stadium song. Like you just get that like starting and just the drums hitting the quarter notes. The second that starts, everyone starts cheering and clapping because they know they're going to eventually get to that chorus where they can sing along with Gene and Paul.
I guess the thing that I'm so like enthralled with about Kiss is at the same time you have Aerosmith making music,
mm-hmm.
and it's like every day of the week I'm taking Aerosmith. I don't see how anybody who was like a self-respecting person went and like bought this and bought like into this, but it happened. And maybe that's just me being like a difficult person who likes obscure music, maybe that's me being the person who is like, oh, you've never listened to Envy, like this Japanese screamo band? No, they haven't.
Right.
Because Envy's like a hard band to get into. But like, I don't know, even just at the base level, the other music that's coming out at this time, it's like, I'm sorry, man. Yeah, I'm listening to fucking Aerosmith. Because it feels like it's got teeth. This doesn't have anything. It's so, like, it just feels so cookie cutter. And we haven't even mentioned the other song.
Yeah.
Hooligan. All I wrote for Hooligan is I hate this, I hate this, I hate this. Because there's no diversions. It's just fucking music.
So Hooligan is a Peter Criss song. So Peter Criss, the drummer, is the one singing this, and Peter Criss, like we'll get to the next song, but Peter Criss was very inspired by like blues era rock. He was very inspired by like more softer edge music. If you actually listen to his solo album, a lot of people say his solo album is just garbage because it's not a Kiss record. when he goes solo for that record, he decides to do his own thing, and it doesn't sound like Kiss, and all of a sudden the Kiss fans are like, what the hell is this? I don't hate Hooligan. It's not great. It's just middling at best. It's just another song you hear at the bar and you go, okay, that's just background noise. Compared to Shout Out Loud, I think it's an easy takeaway that Shout Out Loud is just the better song here.
Yeah.
But I don't hate Hooligan. I think it's fine.
I'm taking hard stances on this episode, guys. I'm so sorry.
Sure.
I
makes for more interesting content.
God, certainly. Okay, now here's the fucked up thing. Truly, we get both records. Track 8 are the most diverse songs on either record. And so now I feel like I've been wandering through the fucking Sahara Desert trying to find water, and then I find so much of it that I'm so confused how to feel.
Well, okay, so you get Beth.
Right.
So Beth, again, famously, Beth is the song that sort of made Kiss go like superstardom. They were popular, but then Beth comes out and they go mega popular. But it's a Peter Criss song that sounds nothing like Kiss. You would, if you didn't know this was Kiss, you would have no idea. Like you wouldn't even guess this was Kiss.
It sounds, shit you not, it sounds like Randy Newman.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
But what's funny is the single for Detroit Rock City, side A was Detroit Rock City, side B was Beth.
That's crazy.
And Gene famously said, he's like, we didn't think anybody would listen to side B because we figured Detroit Rock City was such a good song that they wouldn't even flip the record over. But then they flip the record over and Beth becomes their most popular song ever because it's a song everybody can listen to, right? Your mom's not going to listen to Detroit Rock City and fuck with it, but she'll listen to Beth and be like, oh, wow, like, he's moving me to tears or whatever, right? And of course, during concerts, Peter Criss gets off the drums and he gets like a bundle of roses and he starts throwing them out into the crowd as he's singing this song. And obviously the girls love it. But once again, it's not a Kiss song, like at all. I think it's a fine song for what it is, but I'm here for Detroit Rock City. I'm here for Shout It Out Loud. I'm here for God of Thunder. I'm not here for Beth. So while I don't necessarily skip it, my perfected version of Detroit Destroyer doesn't even have Beth on it because it's not Kiss,
Yeah.
So in comparison to Almost Human, which you get this like groovy track, this groovy riff out of like nowhere.
This is all I wanted. I just wanted someone to put some kind of thought and intention that isn't about, I don't know, being super horny or being in fucking Kiss.
Right.
I think that's what both of these songs do really well. Is Beth isn't super horny, Almost Human isn't super horny, and Beth, at least in my opinion, feels like a legitimate fucking song. Almost Human, on the other end, feels like somebody finally pulled their fucking head out of their ass and said, oh shit, like Motown's happening. We should like maybe listen to, like Booker T and the MGs. Or we should listen to like Herbie Hancock or something, And then they wrote a song that actually feels like a song instead of, holy shit, I'm so horny. I can't wait to get off stage and be a womanizer.
Mm-hmm.
Or I'm so proud that I'm in Kiss. This is all I can think about is rocking and rolling.
Yeah. I completely mimic what you just said. It's like they did listen to Motown. They're like, we could do this. We could try it. And the thing I'll say too is that Gene, this is a Gene song. Gene's singing on the vocals and he sounds great over it. Like you honestly feel like, okay, he could be like a good Motown singer, like for a band. Like he just sounds really good on this thing. Almost Human, like you're right. Almost Human doesn't sound exactly like Kiss, but it sounds more like Kiss. It sounds more like the sound they would go for. And at the end of the day, I just enjoy listening to Almost Human more than I do Beth. So that's why I give it the edge here.
And see, I went with Beth because I was like, this is a complete divergence from what we've had. This is a totally separate entity, but having gone through, I wouldn't even call like this like fever dream of rock and roll, rock and roll, rock and roll. Here is the sound. And they don't really change it up, So you get to this where it's like, oh, there's actually like a real piano for a lot of the song. This is nice. I like this. I'm glad I can be a part of this. So Beth won out, and all I wrote for both of these, for everybody who listens, we take notes, right? I take pretty structured notes. All I wrote for these is Beth, an actual song, not a fever dream. Whoa. And then for Almost Human, This is what I wrote. I wrote, this is the best song on side B because it is something different. Goddamn, good bass playing.
If I'm not mistaken, Love Gun the song is on side B.
Well, you know.
I'll take Love Gun over Almost Human any day.
Well, you're entitled to that.
Sure. Now, compared to the rest of side B, which at this point we're at Do You Love Me versus the famous song we've been bringing up 6 times now, Plaster Caster.
Oh, fucking hell, man.
Let's start with Plaster Caster for a second because we've alluded to it. If you don't know, if you've never heard this song, what this song is about, if I'm not mistaken, is Gene Simmons going to a woman, and the woman can make plasters of any sort of thing you want her to make a plaster of. So what does Gene decide to do? Please make a plaster of my penis. And he keeps referring to his love in plaster, right? She's got my love in plaster. If you want to grip it or whatever he says, it is ridiculous to the nth degree. Like, it's such a stupid ass song, but it's also kind of fun. You know, it's that stupid zany 70s shit that like all the bands, you know, a lot of 70s rock songs don't make much sense or they're kind of stupid at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But if they sound good enough, I'll rock with it. And Plaster Caster, it does sound good enough. Do I think it's amazing? No. Like a lot of the songs here, I don't think it's amazing. I think it's good. But I think the lyrics are just so ridiculous that it's kind of like, well, I kind of like the song for how like ridiculous this goes.
So they're sisters. It's 2 sisters, and they have a whole collection of specifically rock musician penises.
Okay.
And they have Jimi Hendrix's penis. They got it at like the Montreux Jazz Festival.
So this is real?
This is real.
I thought this was just some random thing you came up with.
No. These are two legitimate people. There's a documentary about them on YouTube where you can watch it. Yep. And it's really sad because like they were kids. They were like 16 and 17 just fucking around with plaster of Paris. And I don't know, man. If we're just taking it on the song level, I have to agree with you. I have to agree with you because the other song, Do You Love Me, might be the worst song I've ever heard in my entire life. And I like a band called Anal Cunt. I listened to a band called Anal Cunt, and this song it almost drove me to drink. that's how frustrated I was.
Huh. Okay.
Because it's crazy, but I'm taking the song about Gene Simmons' dick getting plaster casted.
Yeah.
Over.
I didn't know the whole this is real twins. They're 16. Like that kind of sours it a little bit for me. Like I said, despite the lyrics, it's fun, and then you hear, well, I don't know, like that's kind of souring it.
Yeah.
I don't think "Do You Love Me" is. You said it's the worst song you've ever heard,
dude. I like, and that's me being honest. Maybe the worst thing that I've ever heard.
Wow. No, I don't think it's the worst thing I've ever heard. Now, is it great? Obviously not. It's another middling Destroyer song. However, I do, again, it's Paul. It's a Paul song. I do like how he sounds on it. And the funny ass line of, you like my 7-inch ... leather heels. It's like,
which is crazy.
It's funny, dude. It's what Kiss would do.
I know it's funny. And like, is it funny? Yes. But holy shit, you're adults. You know?
Oh, come on. You just brought up Aerosmith. Aerosmith wrote a song called Love in an Elevator.
That's fine. That's fine. Because that song never once says, repeat the line for me.
You like my 7-inch ... leather heels.
We're putting ellipses into album Fight Club. This is where we're at right now. At least Love in an Elevator. At least you get actual musicianship. You get legitimate players. Now, you get Steven Tyler, who, you know, God bless him for losing his voice. One of the greatest vocalists of all time.
I'm sure we'll cover them at some point.
Oh my God.
And I agree with you that Love in an Elevator is a much better song than Do You Love Me? Like that totally.
Yeah.
But in terms of like stupid rock lyrics, like, or stupid rock subjects, I should say, they're both about sex, really, at the end of it. That's all rock is in the 70s.
Yeah.
It's about sex. And honestly, the thing about Do You Love Me is I'm pretty sure there's tubular bells at the end of it, which I appreciate a good usage of tubular bells. In this conversation here, in this matchup, I don't think either song I should say is like really great. It's not an easy matchup for me just because one song I don't think is way better than the other personally. Yeah, in my instance, I'd probably go, see, it's tough. Because like I said, it's a matter of, it's not even a matter of which song I like more here. Hearing the Plaster Caster bit about how it's actual twins at 16 and 17, which is rough. That's tough to hear. I'm not a huge fan of that. But Do You Love Me doesn't really do anything super interesting other than that tubular bell bit. And I think on a bass level, Plaster Caster sounds better. So I probably would go Plaster Caster. Now, I'm not on Cody's level of just vitriolic hate for Do You Love Me. I'm not sure about the whole idea that it's the worst song I've ever heard. That's quite a claim, quite a bold one at that. But it's certainly not great. And as far as Destroyer tracks, it's definitely in the bottom half, maybe towards the bottom. I mean, I think Great Expectations is a worse song than Do You Love Me. So I'll have to give it the Plaster Caster here. So Cody.
Yeah.
Is Do You Love Me worse than Great Expectations?
Oh, I'm going to say yes.
Oh my, get out of here. That's
because
ridiculous.
At least Great Expectations feels like somebody sat down and actually like put some thought into what they wanted to kind of say.
No.
Where it's like, I don't know, maybe I don't know if both of these, I don't know if anybody in KISS is like an studious literature person, but maybe they read Great Expectations in the bus and were like, you know what would be cool in between us being womenizers and marketing machines? What if we wrote this song about Great Expectations?
But that's the thing. It's not about the novel. It's not the Charles Dickens novel. It's
no, I know.
It's a stupid turn of phrase.
No, I know, but I'm thinking like they read the book and then they were going to write something really beautiful and poignant, and then they're like, wait, this song isn't about having sex with underage people or making a bunch of money because we're KISS. Change it.
Yeah.
Whereas
Great Expectations is so bad.
Do You Love Me sounds like the kind of song that I would hear in a Kohl's commercial, but it would be like a brief snippet. It wouldn't even be the whole song. And then you track down the rest of the song, and then you're like, that sucked, dude. I just wanted the 3 seconds from the Kohl's commercial, you know?
Just take silence of a commercial. Just people like shopping silently.
Yeah, just I'd rather take no music than Do You Love Me.
Damn.
You could have put 3.5 minutes of pure, unbridled silence, and I would have taken that.
Well, we get to the final matchup here, which is a very strange matchup because
it's like you can't even call it a matchup.
Yeah, it's not. But it's the weird thing is, okay, Rock and Roll Party is the last quote unquote track on Destroyer. It's just a soundscape piece. I don't even know what they're going for. It's just like noise. It has moments from previous songs like interlaced into it. I don't know, like you couldn't think of a 10th song. Like you couldn't just pull something out of the hat. You couldn't even get a cover, which is what they do on Love Gun. They put a cover of Then She Kissed Me by, I think, the Cranberries, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
Look, we know how I feel about covers. And especially on your 6th album, you're 6 albums deep. If this was your first album, I'd give you some credence, but this is number 6. And you can't get a 10th song? Like, what are you doing?
You're telling me you couldn't write one more song about being either horny or being in KISS?
Right.
Or both? You had to put this, like, Apex Twin fucking Boards of Canada fucking soundscape thing in here?
Yeah. So in both, I'm not a fan of either of these songs just because of the nature of it. Like, it's Destroyer is their 4th album. Love Gun is their 6th. 4 albums in, you should be able to make a 10th track. Even if I don't care if it's good or not, just make one, right? Just make it garbage if you have to.
Yeah.
And then in the case of Love Gun, it's like, well, at least you have something, but it's a cover. Now, is it a bad cover? I mean, not necessarily. I don't think it's a great cover. It's just kind of a cover you'd find on like a B-sides disc.
It's like a comp.
Yeah, it's a comp record.
It's a comp cover. Yeah, you would just be like, so somebody asked us to do this.
Yeah, it's for the 30th anniversary of Love Gun. We're releasing the demos and the B-sides, and you get Then She Kissed Me in there. It's like, okay, fine. No problem with that. But you sell this as your 6th studio album, and then there's just a random-ass cover. It's like, I don't know. I would give it to the cover over the soundscape piece. But I don't feel good doing it. It's like, I don't want to support this, but when you're up against just noise, it's like, I have to give it to the cover.
Mike, no one makes us do this podcast. We can just say neither.
Sure.
That's my stance.
Okay.
It's neither of them.
Well, Okay, I'm willing to go there.
Don't end. It's different if you're one record in. If this is your debut record, that's cool, man.
Yeah, I get it.
Or if for some reason like Destroyer turns out that it's, hold on, I just want to make sure I'm looking at this correctly. Okay. If Destroyer turns out to be some kind of concept album about this young fan that they're eulogizing who died in this car accident, going his way through the minutiae of rock and roll hell to only ascend to the soundscape that is rock and roll party, which is heaven, then that's fucking cool, man. You couldn't write one more song?
Yeah.
The Wall has 24 songs on it. Half of those songs are nothing.
Yeah, 12 of them are bad.
Yeah, at least they're like actual like pieces of competent music.
Yeah, and they're original.
Yeah.
They're not covers.
So fuck you, Kiss. I'm not giving you shit for this one.
All right,
you gave me 9 songs each. 4 of them each were bad.
Yeah, some of them were bad. I'll give you that.
You're telling me this made money?
Yeah, made a lot of money, my dude.
Yeah, I know. I'm just like losing my mind over this. Like, I feel like I for the listener at home, you can't see it. I'm in tears right now because I feel like I have just been like hereditaried. I feel like there has been some kind of lifelong conspiracy, year-long conspiracy from Mike coming with the idea of Album Fight Club in the backstage of TOR to this moment. I feel like King Pagan is going to come, or King Payman is going to come and decapitate me and take my body as a mortal vessel because of fucking Kiss.
When I had the germination of the idea, it was all to get here.
Holy shit, dude. And it's not like, this isn't like an obscure band. That's the other thing that's throwing me.
It's a huge band.
This is fucking Kiss.
Yeah.
Like for some people, a Mount Rushmore band. You're telling me 2 of their biggest records, one ends with a soundscape piece and the other ends with a fucking cover?
Yeah. Well, in the event that you weren't keeping track, folks, Cody went with 5 songs on Destroyer as opposed to my 4, since we're cutting. There's 9 songs now, not 10. And I went 5 on Love Gun where you went 4. So we're actually not hugely divergent. You have a few more picks. I have a few more picks over here. Ew. I mean, with all that said, though, like there's a part of me that agrees with you, which is like, I want to take a step back and go like, is this really a worthwhile band to put in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, to be one of the classic acts, to say this is one of the great bands of the 20th century, rock bands, I should say. And part of me says no, because I listen to this music like you do and I go, some of these songs are just not even good. They're bad. And then a lot of these other songs are just kind of okay. They got a few great moments, that's for sure. But there's a lot of stuff here that just at best is just okay and not that wonderful. But then I step forward for a second and go, yeah, it's not wonderful, but man, can they sell it when they want to.
Yeah.
Because if you listen to Alive and Alive 2, the live records, and like they play some of these middling songs that aren't that great, but when they play them live, you feel the energy, you feel the passion, maybe is the lack of the word, but like just being in that audience, like hearing a song like Sweet Pain, for example. It's not my favorite Kiss song. I don't even think it's a great song, but seeing that live, I probably would be vibing with it, would be singing along. I'd be in the moment of it. And I think that is what makes Kiss great and legendary, is just the persona of the guys. So while yes, a lot of the music here is not amazing, I think the band as a whole is amazing. And I would throw them into that category of, they are legendary, maybe not for the music, but for their whole package combined.
And you know what? I'll agree with that. Like I said, my favorite Kiss record is Psycho Circus, because Kiss is like Kiss is the McDonald's version of fucking Motley Crue. I'm gonna put it like that. You know, you get these dudes who, like, you look at the music and you look at the albums and you look at the live show and you're like, wow, I bet these guys are fucking incendiary. And then you listen to it and it's like, this is serviceable. But I like both Motley Crue and Kiss when, like, there's a little bit of fucking grime on it. You know?
Mm-hmm.
I don't want it to be this, like, pretty boy fucking rock. No. Yeah, I like Motley Crue once you get to Dr. Feelgood. Because sadly, it's better when everybody's addicted to heroin. Like, and I like Kiss when you get to Psycho Circus, because it's like, oh yeah, it's crazy to think that the four of you individually have sued each other for hundreds of millions of dollars in publishing rights. And you guys, instead of like quietly fucking off into the wind, said, you know what we should do? Why don't we go on this extravagant world tour where the entire venue is themed like a circus? And we'll have circus animals, and we'll have carnival games outside, we'll have Ferris wheels every night, and then the show is going to be themed like a circus. That's
awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
But it comes after 10 years of them shitting on each other.
Yeah.
Like publicly. Out loud. Not like quietly behind closed doors. Like Gene Simmons being like, yeah, Ace Frehley is a bitch. Like, that's cool. I don't know how any of this got there. Jesus.
Yeah. Well, there you have it, folks. Cody on his soapbox, which is warranted. Honestly, the parts of it are warranted for sure.
And like, I want to make sure that I say this though. I am not the end all be all authority of good music.
Sure.
Because some of the music that I do enjoy, objectively to a listener, to a critic, is bad. Things like Jerome's Dream and Insatia and like beatdown bands and things like that, like hardcore music, right? It's all kind of one thing, just explored. But at least there's integrity behind it. And we're going back to the thing that I've continued to say over the last 2 seasons. I'm taking music with integrity because at least I know you had a vision. Instead of, well, we're 4 guys and we're making music together. And the goal is to make money. Because you can do both. You can absolutely do both. I mean, look at, 5 episodes ago, whatever, we talked about Bruce Springsteen. He did both, and he continues to do both. And then 4 episodes ago, we talked about fucking Queen. Not Queen.
Motorhead?
No. Heart.
Oh.
Heart. We talked about Heart. Yeah. Some of those songs weren't that good, but at least they had like a vision. Don't give me serviceable because it tells me one way or the other you just gave up and said this is going to make us money.
Yeah.
The beauty and importance of art, the beauty and importance of art is fucking raising a flag somewhere and saying this is what speaks to me in my heart.
Like I said earlier, warranted, fair, absolutely. Is there any final? I mean, you kind of said your final notes on Kiss. Is there anything more you would like to say about the band?
Just this: skip all of the first wave Kiss bullshit. Get past the solo records. Buy their greatest hits because you're gonna get everything that you need. You're gonna get everything that you need, and then listen to Psycho Circus because somehow, like I said, Kiss is best when there's a little bit of fucking dirt on it. There's a little bit of grime.
Okay, Cody, I apologize. I will be back in literally 30 seconds. I just have to.
You're okay. Mike has stepped away from the microphone, so I just want to say this once again. Holy shit! The most important thing that you can do as an artist.
What's up, Cody?
Hey, I'm vamping on. You can't hear me. Can you hear me?
How do I take the headphones out? Oh, I'll just put them in. Hi.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. First off, I'm vamping on how important it is to have integrity in the art that you create. And can you agree?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Because you like Taylor Swift, don't you?
Yeah.
All right. So one of the most wonderful things, and you can attest to this about Taylor's versions, is that there's fucking integrity behind the decision to re-record all that music in her styling.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, I agree with Cody.
Don't give me fucking middling bullshit because all you did was not make a decision.
Whatever.
Thank you, Savannah.
I agree.
Sorry about that.
No, you're good.
Okay. Did you have a final note? I blanked.
Yeah, I did. I'm stepping off my high horse. So just to end on everything that I just said, decisions in a way are self-political because they inform the person who is enjoying the art and the artist as to where they are sitting at any given moment in time, right? and Mike can agree to this, although he didn't hear the spiel I just went on. And the worst thing that you can do, once again, is just make some middle of the road cookie cutter fucking bullshit. Because we're all stuck with this thing called sentiency. And you're gonna fucking tell me that all you're gonna do is talk about banging minors and fucking rocking and rolling? That's crazy.
Yeah. Like I said earlier, if I feel like it would have happened though already. Like if Gene got Me Too'd or whatever, that should have happened by now, shouldn't it?
He probably had the wherewithal to make everybody sign the hardest NDAs they could.
Yeah.
I'm talking like we'll take your house and your rights away from you.
Yeah.
Because like it's a Family Guy joke. That's how fucking big it is. It was a Family Guy joke. They had the Christmas movie where they save Santa Claus. Kiss was a marketing machine. When you're a marketing machine, you have very good lawyers. When you're making that much money, you got a team of counsel who is protecting every decision that you make.
Yeah.
God!
Well, I mean, I agree with most of the sentiments Cody's talking about. I think some of these lyrics are really unfortunate looking at it in 2025 mindset. With that being said, though, in the last 3 weeks, I've become a proto-Kiss fan. I mean, I'm wearing a Paul Stanley shirt, for God's sake. So, like, I'm somewhat of a fan here. But overall, they're not one of my favorite bands ever. I don't think they're, like, musically, musicianship-wise, I don't think they're one of the greats. But I think they are in that conversation of being a great band for all the elements put together. It's like sort of like a puzzle piece. You just put it all together and then it suddenly becomes a picture of, okay, these guys are great for several reasons. And in fact, I didn't tell Cody this, but as a bonus podcast, as a bonus episode, I'm actually going to be doing a ranking of the solo records. Since now I have them purchased, I'll be giving you my solo record opinion takes if you are interested. Of course, that'll be a bonus episode, probably coming out a week from now when this one releases. But if you want more Kiss, I don't know. But if you do, you can listen to me rant about that for about 20 to 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Because I don't think Cody wants to talk about Kiss anymore. I think Cody's tapping out on Kiss.
Fucking, I'm done, man. I'm done with Kiss. Get out of my way.
Yeah. I still want to talk about them, so I will. But until that happens, and until next time, do take care.
Bye, everybody.